So while we're doing this here reunion, it seems as though colorism has actually reared its ugly head down in Potomac. And then Andy bows out. Hey, you guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 7. This is it's actually episode 19, which is part 2 of the reunion. And as I said, colorism actually shows up in full force, which is so funny to me. And not funny, ha ha ha, funny, but funny that it actually showed up here like this. See, my time with Potomac, I've always felt as though there were the undertones, there was the rumblings of colorism, but never blatant on the show per se. More so, follow me now, more so when it's in the audience. It's us. It's us. It takes place more so off screen, I think. You know, the rumblings happen in social media as pertains to this show. They don't really talk about it. They don't really bring it up. I think this is the first time they really went dead on with it. And Andy bowed on out. It was to a point where he couldn't get around it. Couldn't get around it because of the stuff with Monique and all of that. So the rumblings have gotten louder. So Bravo and Andy, and they just couldn't really get around it. And Andy went to approach the subject and said right away, listen, I don't feel as a white male that I need to lead this conversation at all. And they had spoken about getting a mediator and bringing someone in and that kind of thing. But they said the producers actually talked with the ladies and they came up with the thing that they really want to discuss it amongst themselves. That's when it got very interesting to me. They wanted to discuss it amongst themselves. And I'm saying, but who'd y'all really talk to? Who in the cast did y'all really talk to? Because it just seems as though there were 3 people who were clueless. And then the other people kind of were like, okay, all right. And then you actually got to see a bit of colorism doing what it does. Right in real time. I don't know if they even caught it, but I caught it. And let me see if you all felt what I felt, okay? My thumbnail is so completely out of order. It's out of order, and I did that on purpose. I knew it would trigger some folks. I knew it would. Pay attention. I was just trying to get your attention. That's all. There's nothing funny about it. I wasn't trying to be funny. You see what I did there? I wasn't trying to be funny. Let me explain. I wasn't trying to be funny. I was moving things around in order to catch your attention to how ridiculous things are. And sometimes you got to really zoom in because you've seen this photo before, okay? Boom. You've seen the photo before. But then there's slight things that I did to it. And if you just looked real quick, you didn't really pay attention. That's how the situation with the colorism and the Real Housewives of Potomac actually was going down, because I'm sitting and I'm looking at this, and literally Robin, Giselle, and Ashley they were acting like they were completely oblivious to what was being talked about. They were acting like they were completely oblivious to what was being talked about. And you know how we talk about the messenger of a message, that it's about the messenger? Well, Candace was taking the lead. Okay? Candace was taking the lead. So already, some folks is like, oh, here she go. Because Candace always whines, and Candace always cries, and Candace is always getting upset. And so is it really for Candace to lead? Are people going to really pay attention to Candace? Or are people going to get into the thing of, oh, I don't like her, or oh, she's always doing this, that, thing, the other, and then the message is just missed? You understand what I'm saying? So I was watching it. I was watching it. But in the midst of it, you got to kind of see, is here go the brown skin girl again, fussing about colorism. Oh my God. That was the feel that I got. You know, Candace started off, she read the actual definition of colorism and all of that. And then she moved on, and people were already up. Giselle gave very much of, well, girl, what does any of that have to do with the color of your skin? She was explaining how sometimes things that are being done, and she put herself in Robin in the situation. She said, yes, I cry. Yes, I snap out. Yes, I yell, and all of those things. But Robin has done the exact same things. But it just seems as though when Robin does it, she doesn't get ringed for it the way I get ringed for it. It's more, and like I said, it's more us, the fans, and what goes on social media is basically kind of what she's speaking of. And sometimes some in the show, the response to the behaviors are a little more harsh when it's a brown skinned woman as opposed to a lighter skinned woman, is what she was actually saying. Robin was already hemming and hawing and huffing and puffing, like, no. Yeah. I mean, this has been the history of it. And they were really, I sat and I watched them. The Robin, Giselle, and Ashley started rebutting her. They started rebutting her, and no. Well, wait a minute. No. And it was that whole thing of like, no, girl, it's just you. You're just, you're taking it the wrong way. That's the way they were trying to take her. And this is when I said, boy, I don't even think they even realized it. But this is when you saw actual colorism really work the way that it works so slickly, because that's how colorism works. Sometimes it's not blatant. When it's actually effective, it's really ugly, and it's sneaky, and it's slick, and it slides right up underneath you, and you don't always catch it right away. And I watched and I caught it. So they were rebutting Candace. Catch me now. Follow me, people. As they were rebutting Candace, Karen stepped in and took it up. And then Karen started talking. And once Karen started talking, everybody was quiet. You could hear a goddamn pin drop. And Karen basically delivered the exact same message that Candace was delivering. But it was Karen. It was Karen. And at this time, it had nothing to do with age, because you could have said, oh, maybe they're listening because it's Karen, her age and her wisdom over Karen. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. It was that little slight piece of colorism. It was now the high, well, I was going to say high yellow. I'll just say it. The high yellow woman, as opposed to the brown woman who always is crying and fussing. Karen is the lighter skinned woman who don't actually ever discuss these things. Karen is saying the exact same thing that Candace is saying, but for whatever reason, they were receptive to hear the message from Karen as opposed to from Candace. Karen started off saying, I bought the plantation. We own the plantation that my ancestors actually worked upon. And then she gave a little bit of the history and things that's going on about light versus dark and on. But it was just, for me, I saw it. That's how I felt. I felt like I was watching colorism's slickness spill out right in real time. They were quiet, and then they got it. Oh yeah, okay. And then it was a good thing. It turned out for good because then they acknowledged, they gave an acknowledgement of, well, yeah, now that you say that, I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from. So it didn't turn out to be bad, but for me, it was like, wow, that right there was actually colorism, and how y'all weren't even willing to listen to her. Y'all weren't even willing to listen to her. Karen delivered the exact same message that Candace was delivering, but y'all listened. Your whole demeanor changed. Your whole demeanor changed. Whole demeanor changed. Wendy was pretty quiet throughout the whole thing because I think Wendy was giving, listen, I ain't even ready to argue. It is what it is. Y'all know what it gives. And she was quiet. Mia was quiet. And then Mia, where I don't even do Mia, but she said, listen, I am raising a brown baby girl. So again, it kind of hit home for her too. She was over there quiet because she wasn't going to rebut it because she knew it was so. She knew what Candace was saying was accurate. But unfortunately, Giselle, Robin, and Ashley, y'all, but you know a little thing about hit dog. But that's what happened. That's how I saw it. This was like the most interesting part of the whole show for me. This literally, I have to say, was the most interesting part of this whole season. This is the one scene from all of season 7 that I think will actually stick out in my mind the most. It was a bad thing and a good thing all at the same time. It was what I call actual reality television. We got to see colorism rear its ugly head right in real time on live TV, which is what reality TV is about. Seeing the real jump out where no one can actually edit it out. That's what reality TV is about. So this was a very interesting situation for me. I thought it was very interesting. Now, this is when you do what you do. Put it in the comments. Let me know. Do you agree with me? Or do you say, James, you are way off? Talk to Spillitboy. I'm listening. But this was the highlight of season 7 for me. So let me go ahead and move on. I started to do this as a video all by itself and just leave it like that. But no, this was actually part of the reunion. So I just left it right here. And now I'm going to go on to the few little things that we saw during the reunion. So let's go back to the beginning. Okay. All right. So, and I'm going to say this. It's actually sad that the season was so dry and so lackluster and so lapse of storylines that are worth anything, that the two things that stick out for me this season are things that aren't really locked into the show and what they actually are pushing forward, which is colorism, a colorism conversation, and a whole friend of the show, Jacqueline. Jacqueline has actually been more interesting and entertaining than everybody who's actually cast and actually got the real checks on the show. It is so funny because I've called this woman Jacqueline so long on these reviews that when Andy actually introduced Jacqueline to the show and called her Jacqueline, I looked at him funny because I was like, no, her name is Jacqueline. See, I clown too much. That is proof positive that I clown too damn much. Her name is Jacqueline, honey. But anyway, we'll get to that. So first things first. So they were talking about the whole thing of Giselle versus Candace. And we went right from last week, the first episode, into that thing of how, Giselle was just building a narrative around Chris, and it was all done for the camera, and she's shady. Now, those little uterus comments, that was real low blows. Those were low blows, especially coming from Candace, because you've had female issues. So it was kind of cold, it was kind of cold. But again, when in battle, people battle how they battle, but the uterus comments were. From a person that cries about stuff, you may have wanted to stay away from those because you were having IVF issues and IVF tries and things weren't always going in your favor, and you cried and you wanted us to cry with you, which is why you filmed it. You wanted us to feel for you. You wanted to share with us the hardships you had. But to come back and now this woman has had a full hysterectomy and you just were kind of insensitive, and those reads were a little, yeah. But I guess you wanted to get back at her because I understand your feelings with her was about your husband and all that. But what was so weird was how Mia tried to jump in and tried to basically get Candace to acquiesce to what Giselle was saying. Why can't you just go along with the fact that she says that being in the room with Chris made her feel uncomfortable? Because it's bullshit. So I'm like, I was waiting, and Candace finally came on through with it and said, hey, you shut up. And I really wanted her to shut up too. Shut up. She shouldn't acquiesce. Giselle was out of order, and they ran it all season where all of this stuff being said about Chris, the things that were being said about Eddie, it was all BS. Ashley ought to be ashamed. The Muppet Girl ought to be ashamed, and so should Giselle. You putting your nasty mouth on those men. Those men have done nothing to you all, and you were fighting dirty, and whatever you get, you get. The uterus jokes was a little bit much coming from Candace because you wanted us to cry over your uterus, but now you want us to laugh about hers. And no. No. If you wasn't a crybaby, maybe, but no, that wasn't good coming from you. Anyway, moving on. Now we got Robin and Candace. Robin is crazy as well. Robin is basically now admitting that you responded to a clip of an Instagram live and then later had to eat crow because you exposed that Instagram live to the ladies to get back at Candace. And then we come to find out, because I didn't see the Instagram clip. I didn't see the whole Instagram thing. I saw what they showed on the show. Come to find out, girls, in that clip, she said what she said about the ladies, but Robin, she wasn't even referring to you, and you knew it because, well, you didn't know at the time, I don't guess. I don't guess you've seen the whole thing. You just see the clip. But found out she was speaking really, really positive about you and your business, where she was shading the rest of their businesses. And she was saying, we were friends. You could have just reached out to me or whatever, but I spoke nice about your stuff. And Andy's the one that brought it to the forefront. Robin basically did what she did and then just sat. Well, I figured she knew when Andy said what he said, but she never came out and corrected it. She has been sitting in it. And then she turned around and tried to stand in it and say, well, I don't understand why you're upset about me exposing to the ladies what you were saying about the ladies. Well, aren't y'all supposed to be friends? Aren't y'all supposed to be friends? So you blasting her, that ain't all that friendly. I mean, it just, what for? I mean, first of all, see, again, it's that double-edged sword. You, anything I say online, I promise you, I'll say it again. I'm not going to say anything to anyone online and then turn around and say, well, no, girl, I didn't say that. It's right there online. If I said it, I meant it. If I said it, I meant it. That's why I don't do a whole lot of that. Oh, I'm going to apologize. No, I ain't. For what? If I said it, I said it. And 9 times out of 10, I'll add more to it before I ever take it away. I ain't sitting around apologizing. If me and you get into a tiff, you got an option if I decide to do it, which I don't do often. If we are able to move on from it, then that's exactly what we'll do. We'll move on from it. Don't look to me for an apology, because if I said something insulting to you in the midst of insulting you, I promise you I meant it. I meant it. At that time, I meant it. So, no, I'm not going to go back and tell you, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I take it back, because that's a lie. I ain't sorry, and I ain't taking it back, because when I said it, it's exactly what I meant. It hurt your feelings. I meant to. So, no, I'm not going to sit back here and say, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, so sorry. That's a lie. And I don't pride myself in sitting around telling lies. I've been on the planet way too long to be sitting around telling lies about something I felt or something I said. I said what I said. Was it harsh? Probably. Probably. But in the moment, that's what it was. Ain't no need me sitting around talking about I didn't mean it. Yes, I did. Just like you meant to hurt me with whatever it is you did that got me to the point of saying that to you. Now, if it's something that I'm incorrect about, then yes, I will apologize. But if we're battling, no, I ain't. Mm-mm. You picked me talking about a specific insult I gave you. Well, that really hurt me. I meant to really hurt you. But what part did you miss? It's called battle. Battle. Battle is spears, spheres, and poking sticks. That's battle, honey. It's not roses, tulips, and dandelions. I don't know where y'all get that mess from. But anyway, that's that old mess. I don't know. I just, no, Robin. Robin be doing weird stuff. But anyway, moving on. Karen stealing ideas. Listen, this is real easy. We ain't got to go through no whole bunch about this. Karen, you steal ideas. The live shows, you stole that. The candle stuff, I ain't trying to hear what you talk about, Karen. Girl, you stole that. You stole it. And then the thing is, if you're stealing something, you're supposed to up the ante, if you will. Up the ante. If you steal an idea from someone, you're supposed to do it. If it's done on a 10, you're supposed to bring it in a 15. Nobody needs you to steal and try to reproduce something that we already got. We don't need you to do that. If you come with something better off of something, then yeah, okay, that's cool. But we don't need you to reproduce something that we already have. We really don't. We need you to either make it your own or make it better than what it is. We don't need a replica. And that's what you did here. Then you got caught up in your bull crap because you said Wendy Williams was your inspiration for the show. Then when we were in real time, you sit around talking, it was Carol Burnett. Girl, which one was it? And that's what Andy threw at her. I said, girl, she got caught up in her mess. Andy's so shady. So shady. The fact is that when it came to the candles, when it came to the live shows, when it comes to Real Housewives of Potomac, when you all have ideas for businesses and things, there are thieves in the temple. So just pay attention. When you come with your stuff, know that Karen is lurking around, honey, lurking in corners, trying to figure out what her next move is. We still love you, Karen, girl, but girl, you shady. Anyway, moving on. Giselle and this here hysterectomy, I didn't like. Well, we all know she don't really like to share, her personal stuff. She really don't. I don't know why she's even on reality TV, but she doesn't like you to see a vulnerable side of her at all. She doesn't. And she was talking about the hysterectomy and talking about her girls and that whole thing and the thing that you actually go through with that. I understand it. I do understand it. I do understand when the situation starts to, when there's an operation or something with a parent and it takes a little longer than what they have actually said it's going to take, and how you as a child feel like, wait a minute, what's going on? This is supposed to already be over with. And she told her girls, it was a in and out operation. She would be home that night, but then she didn't end up making it home that night. And I understood exactly where she was coming from. But here's where my problem came in, Andy. I want to slap your face because she was starting to get filled up. And she said to Andy, we'll just finish it later. And he said, no, we're talking about it now. Excuse me? Excuse me? I wanted to knock Andy on the floor. I didn't like that at all. It seemed, and I can't even say that was editing. It just seemed and came across so insensitive. I don't care what she does. Something like that, and you say, okay, I'm not comfortable, and you say, we're talking about it now. I didn't like that. That just stroked me real wrong. I was like, Andy. Mm-mm. I don't want you stroking me at all, Andy, but I definitely don't want you stroking me like that. That bothered me, and it made me want to elbow you. I ain't like that. Okay, so I'm gonna go on and I'm gonna move on. They took her and told her, you do have a lot of expectation on other people when you don't like to share your business, but you got a whole bunch of expectation about other people's business, and that is actually true, Giselle. So just check yourself, look at yourself in the mirror. Yeah, moving on. Wendy and Mia. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, I do feel as though the assault on Wendy was downplayed. I definitely do. The throwing of the drink in the face, the throwing of the cup and all of that. I feel like it was totally downplayed. For all intents and purposes, Wendy really did deserve to bang Mia, to just bang her. Girl, she wouldn't have got over with none of that on Monique. That scene would have been so short. By the time Wendy was snapping out, the police would have been there if Monique was around. That she would have never allowed any of them to throw a drink on her and then hit her with the cup. No. It was, and I do feel like it was downplayed. And then they actually, when Mia sat over there and said, but you screwed Peter, this, that, and the other. I said, now you're taunting her with some other stuff, and nobody even bought it. Now, the truth of the matter is, Wendy could have actually screwed Peter and got away with it, because when Mia did it, you lie so much. You lie so much, and you lie at will, just so much that nobody even bothered. It's like, girl, get out of here, child. So that worked in Wendy's favor. I don't know whether she screwed Peter or not, but if she did, she just got away with it. And Peter Thomas is Peter Thomas. He's worth a good screwing. I guess that, whatever. Now, she's married. That ain't cool, but whatever. Whatever. If she did do it, you just helped her get away with it, because your background as a liar just helped with the whole situation, because everybody listening to you full crap. Robin, and this constantly trying to downplay her aggressive behavior, is very interesting as well. That videotape and stuff. Oh, I'm TMZ. That you were instigating. You were instigating at the time. It was irritating to me at the time when you did it. I was like, Chris, I probably would cussed you out. And then you did try to make Wendy shut up. Listen, let me tell you something. Me in battle with another person, and you trying to tell me to shut up, guess what just happened? I just got in battle with you. The best thing you could do for me is shut up and mind your business, or you'll be next. I'm going to probably lining up. I love to work a room. I love working a room, because that's nothing for me to go from one situation to, and you'll be next. And that's what you would have gotten, Robin. You would have. Because who are you? It's getting on your nerves. Okay. Who are you? And then when they always flash back, oh no, nobody had to put their arm up with me, and her Sharice didn't have to put her arm up. She did. She did. You always downplay your stuff. You're one of those people, Robin, who you get too caught up. You're like, it's like a wild dog of sorts. You know what I mean? You know, dogs run in packs. They do that because, well, it's kind of like a it's a primal thing. And being a person, we're supposed to actually have more control of that. But wolves, dogs, stuff like that, they are canines. They run in packs because they feed off each other's energy. One gets mad, and that energy goes to the other, and then they feed, and then they're kind of, you're like one of those people. You know, there are people who will be at a fight and then they have nothing to do with it. They have absolutely nothing to do with it on either side. But then you look at them, and the next thing you know, they're all hyped up and they're ready to fight. And they don't even know why. Because they're savages. They're savages. And I've seen that Robin. I like Robin. You know, I like her fam. But you just a pretty savage. It just is what it is, girl. You're a savage. And I see that in you. You get real hyped up. Stuff that ain't got nothing to do with you. What you got to do with Wendy and Mia? You don't really like neither one of them all that much. So what is you all hyped up for? Savage. Anyway, moving on. Girl, shut up. Shut up and mind your business. Nobody said nothing about you wanting that marriage. Hush. Other than that, you ain't going to be all hyped up. Just shut up. Shut up. Anyway, so Wendy kind of broke down a little bit, and she was said this was again some reality TV stuff happening in real time. She said basically she's sick of this shit. Okay, she was angry and upset by how that situation was handled in the group. Now, I get it. That I get. What I didn't get, Wendy, why were you even still there? You should have been on a plane and gone days before. When the drink got thrown on you, you should have been excused from your duties there. I would hate to find out that Bravo made you stay on that trip. You should have been on a plane on the way home because you were in a position where you could have really messed yourself up. From the moment she threw the drink and you were able to make it through that part, you should have exited stage left because it wouldn't have got nothing nice. That could have really went somewhere ugly. And I promise you, Mia ain't worth it. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her life. Look at your life and what you got going on. Is she worth time downtown? No. And it could have very much got to that point because it had gotten physical. So it could have only gotten worse. You know, you should have been excused from your duties. You shouldn't have had to stay on the rest of that trip. I don't know if you made that decision. If you made that decision to stay, then that's on you. You know, and the behaviors that followed were ugly. They were ugly. And here's the thing about playback in real time. So you record this stuff and then months go by and then you start sitting with us, the viewing audience and the reviewers and things. You're sitting with us and you're watching it back and it drums up those old feelings. And this is what we saw from Wendy. Those feelings resurfaced because remember, they had squashed it. But watching it back and then seeing the damn confessionals on top of it, you got back in your feelings. You was feeling some kind of way about it all over again. Girl, you was mad. And then Andy said, well, wait a minute, didn't I thought y'all squashed that. Wasn't y'all showing each other's cute chest? She told Andy, she said, girl, everybody showed vagina, child. And that was the tequila. And she just started laughing. But that's a reality TV thing, honey. The reunion, you be waiting on the reunion because, you know, sitting watching all that stuff over with the editing. Oh, and then them confessionals on top. Be like, oh, this bitch just sat over there and talked some shit. That, you know, that, that, So that's what we got. Again, we got to see that in real time. She ain't gotten her feelings watching the stuff with us, watching back with us. I get it. Because it was messed up. She kept saying it was horrible. It was horrible. It wasn't cool. I can't even imagine having to watch that back of that happening to me. Okay, so let's move on to the one of the most interesting things that really the show just got for free, which is Miss Jacqueline, honey. Miss Jacqueline. When Jacqueline came in and they seated her, you saw right away the territorial foolishness that is called Mia. Mia was looking at Jacqueline, honey. I said, yeah, girl. You brought her in. And Jacqueline said the same thing I've been saying all season, honey. She brought me in basically to be her lapdog. You think? Sure, she did. She said verbatim, she wants to drag me underneath her so she feels and looks better. I said, ain't that what I said? I hate to be the one to say I told you so, but have I not been saying this since we first made Jacqueline's acquaintance? Since I first seen her. And then she said, I literally see, this is the good thing about ReUnion. I'm glad they let Jacqueline do the ReUnion. This is where you make your splash now, Jacqueline. Like I said, you get to talk now. And it ain't spliced down, it ain't cut up. It's boom in real time. You sitting over there and I'm sitting over here. Let's get it. That's ReUnion. She said, I literally gave you my sister. You sat up here and you made it look like you were doing me such a favor with my kids. My sister was being a nanny for me. And I gave you my sister as a nanny because I knew you didn't have any family support. So I gave you my family support. My sister was watching my children. You wasn't doing me no favor. I did you the favor. But you got me up on here looking as though you giving me handouts and scraps. I said, And the sister she talking about is Tita Talks. That's my friend down here on YouTube, honey, Miss Tita. Now, Miss Tita, listen, she ain't lying. Now, Jacqueline's not lying. When she said, Andy asked her, has your mom actually seen this? Because you know Mia is her mother's foster daughter. Has your mom actually seen this? She said no, because I don't want her to see it. But the rest of my family has actually seen it, and the family is pissed. I don't know about the rest of the family, but I could definitely tell you, Tita's pissed, and Tita's been pissed. And I spoke with Tita. I spoke with Tita back in the beginning of this, when the season first started. Never said this to y'all on camera, but here we go. I spoke with Tita in the very beginning when like the first 2 episodes had actually came out, and Tita was pissed, and Tita had already been kind of barking a little bit. And I told Tita, hold your mule, Tita. Hold your mule, back it down. Because in the show, whatever has happened, one, I don't want to know everything because I don't want to ruin my watching of the show because I watch. So I don't want to ruin my watching of the show. But what I don't want is for you to get yourself in trouble because you're upset about things that have not happened on the show. So you have to be very careful about what you say on your channel because you don't want Bravo coming after you. See, they got a show to do and they got money to make. And if you beat them to the punch, spilling tea about their production, oh, baby, they coming for you. They're going to come for you and they're going to come for Jacqueline, honey. So just hold on. And I never even ended up doing, and I told her once the confusion unravels, by all means, I will provide, my platform is there. I will do an interview and give the platform to you and Jacqueline to tell your side of the story. I'll interview you. It just didn't end up happening. She did actually end up interviewing with another YouTuber. But yeah, I talked to Tita way back, and like I'm talking literally like that Monday after episode 2 aired. I told her, that hasn't even unraveled on the show yet. Zip it. Zip it. And I told her, I'll give you a heads up of when to start talking. She started talking a little bit before, I said, go, go, go. You know what I mean? But yeah, I didn't, And I think we'll have plenty of time to actually learn about Jacqueline and all of that. But yeah, I know for a fact, she ain't lying. The family's pissed. I don't know about the rest of the family, but Tita was pissed. Pissed at Mia. Then the two of them start setting up. Now, this part I ain't so sure about, when, one said, you said that my house was in foreclosure, and the other one, she said, but all the time, your businesses was in shambles, and I got receipts. And she started pulling out papers. Then Mia said, she will say, don't start none, won't be none. And they supposedly have not spoken to each other at all since the taping wrapped and all of that. I said, oh my, the sisters, honey. So now they ready to go head to head, and all the girls is just looking like, I said, look at y'all. I said, yeah, y'all want the tea like we want the tea, but what y'all don't even understand, those two sisters just took over y'all's whole show. Didn't see that coming, did you? The sisters took over the whole show. They are the interest point of the show. Ain't nothing y'all got going on more interesting than the fight between Mia and Jacqueline. Welcome to Potomac. Good job, ladies. Anyway, I'm gonna leave that right there. That's where we left off. I got two more things I want to talk about right here. So we talked about Jacqueline. So we got to give her props. Boom. This was Jacqueline had on, honey. She got the color right. Okay. Nothing to see here. It's a nice dress. She looks nice. That's it. It's not, there's nothing bad. The fit's not bad. The color looks good on her, everything like that. Her hair looks good. Only thing that pissed me off as the hairdresser, I want to shake you, because she's going on television. And you put some hairpins, they're bobby pins, on the long side of Jacqueline's hair, and the light and the camera literally zoomed right in on the bobby pins. So I was like, damn, it's television. Remember, small details, cameras and lighting and bobby pins. Bobby pins are like a piece of glass. They're like a piece of glass or like a rhinestone. They show up. So I was pissed when I seen that, because it was so distracting. But other than that, she looked good. I was like, all right. I wish somebody would have seen Jacqueline in the light that I saw Jacqueline in, because the one thing that would have really turned this, because this dress is just it's okay. But if Jacqueline would have came in there with a stunner, with a dress that everything should have just been done on a large, like she should have came in there and, baby, this was your time. But again, personal style goes into it. And I believe that this is actually her personal style. So again, it's a nice dress, but baby, I would have stunned it. It would have been something way over the top, baby. Look at me. I'm getting ready to break it up, because she has literally broken up the season. She's a friend to the show, child. I done gave her a whole nickname, and her storyline is more interesting than every storyline that actually was already existing in the show. It's very interesting dynamic. And then this here. Last week, we talked about Robin's dress. Here is Robin's dress in black. Robin, your dress is cool, but baby, need I say more? And Robin, you could have done this. You didn't have to do the modest slit. You could have actually done this. This dress I think the dress is cool. Like I said, I think it's a nice dress. It's a nice dress. I liked it. But in black, and with the slit higher, this dress is fantastic. I just looked at it and I said, I mean, she even damn near got the same hair, you know, just with no curl, just straight. It just that, I don't know. And that black and that silver, that is stunning. That's the child. What a difference a J makes. That in black, this is bad. Bad, 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 bad. It's pretty in that blue, but baby, in this black is something serious, baby. Ah, yes, indeed. Listen, this has been my part 2 review of season 7's Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. And I know y'all got a lot to say. We covered a lot of stuff. And I know some of you are not happy with what I said, and I'm very interested to hear what you have to say. You know, good, bad, or ugly, because we tackle some stuff, especially that colorism situation. It's always a whew, you know. So very interested to hear what you all have to say. Did you see it the way I seen it? Did you not? You know, we always get down in those comments. So listen, I'll see y'all on the other side. Y'all have a good night. There's another part coming, honey, and we're going to find out more about Robin and her trying to undercut the network, honey, so to speak. Oof. Anyway, see y'all later.